Hello, Nerdedians. My name is Josh, your player, and welcome to another rendition of a Tier Maker. Last week, we talked about Smogon OU Pokemon in Draft League, specifically Gen 8 Galar decks with, like, Island of Armor and Crown Tundra Pokemon OU in their corresponding Draft League tier. How well they did. And that did actually pretty well. People seem to really like the outlook I had on it and overall the general consensus. So I thought I would take it one step further. I'm going to delve down into UU this time. Smogon Gen 8 Galar Dex UU and RUBL, and we're going to be ranking those mons in accordance with how they do in Galar Dex Wi-Fi usually, or I guess just Galar Dex Draft League format. So, if you like this video, if you think this is a cool topic, if you want to see more, of course, leave a like, let me know. Make sure you're subbed. We're actually past 400 subs, and we're on our way to 500 now. And I did say at 500 subs, I would release a video for the top 10 strangest sets I've ran / had work in Draft League format, which, if you know me, is a wild ride. I've done some many crazy sets over my time. So also let me know what you want to see next. Do you want me to delve into RU next time? Do you want me to go Nat Dex? Do you want me to go Little Cup, Ubers? What do you want me to see? What do you want from me in the future? And we can look at it. So until then, let us just dive right in. So our first mon down here is actually Aegislash or Aegislash, or however Aegislash. And I think Aegislash is really good. I love Aegislash. I've used it numerous times. I think it is absolutely insane in the format. I think it's super strong, super good. I think its Swords Dance set is really nice. I know everyone loves like the Rock Polish or Autotomized Weakness Policy set. Again, I'm personally a fan of the Swords Dance set. I think its Swords Dance is so strong. As the Galar Dex has evolved, of course, it's become less good. I know when Galar Dex was more like restrictive, it was ridiculously good because of how slow everything was. So like this could like break through really well. Specs is good, subtoxic, defensive. You know, it has a lot of sets, a lot of versatility. Great defensive typing. I just wish it got like a little bit more, and it could be like up here. It's like it's so close to being like S+, but its speed holds it back, and then of course, you know, having to switch constantly. No rocks, no spikes, no real like support other than like subtoxic. So that kind of does hold it back. Amoonguss is a weird mon, right? Amoonguss is a weird mon. I don't see Amoonguss drafted as much as I feel like we should. But I think it's a really nice mon. Like, I've used it before. I haven't used it in a while. But Regenerator is always super strong, right? Good grass type. I think what has made it less and less common as time has gone on is the fact that it's not resistant to ground. And I think that throws a lot of people away from it. Because I know people, we all want our ground resist for, like, Excadrill, Landorus, Garchomp, all the grounds that run around, the Nidos, etc. You want your ground resist. Zygarde is a big one. So that always defaults people to Tangrowth or get something else. So I feel like Amoonguss gets left in the dust a lot, when it really shouldn't. It's a really nice bulky mon. Its ultimate sets are always great. It can be mixed if it wants to. I guess Hidden Power also hurts it, but Spore lets it like deter Steel types from always switching in, because you can just put it to sleep and then take advantage of it. It's a good mon. Now this is a Pokemon I love. I love a Zelf. I think a Zelf is so underrated. I think it's so underrated. For those who don't know, a Zelf, for the longest time, was actually my most amount of kills in one league on. It got 22 kills and 3 deaths in MLP Season 6, a league that I run. However, and I always say this because I know it's dumb, but if I got 2 low rolls in 2 different games, that stopped us from sweeping. Otherwise, it would have been 27-1, fucking 11 games. Like, a Zelf is a monster. Nasty plot. Band, specs, just life orb, set up rocks, scarf. It's so offensively versatile. It's really nice. 115 is a speed tier that I think is always really hard to get because the mons are usually lackluster. There are some good 115s. Zelf, Raikou, stuff like that. But I feel like you end up having to like suffer when you try and get something around that speed tier, just because of, I mean, the mons aren't ever that good. Azumarill's nice. I like Azumarill. I'd put it down here solely because one of the problems with Azumarill is that's your fairy. Unless you go double fairy, that's your fairy, and it's not. It's a good bulky fairy, but it's not overly reliable for consistently taking on dragon spam, for taking on fighting, for stuff like that. It can be really, really good, and offensively, it's super scary because I know water is a great offensive type, but that's also your bulky water. I don't know. I feel like I'd rather just have something fatter, or I'd rather just like have Tapu Fini. I'll be honest. I'd rather have Tapu Fini or Primarina, stuff like that. But like, it's just not a bad mon. It's just in a format where you're constantly trying to have like these really good, reliable mons to switch into hits. I just feel like you're better off with other stuff. Now, as we go down from like OU to UU to RU and everything, we're gonna see less and less of like the high tiers, and it's gonna start like trending lower and lower. But luckily, we do have an S+ tier mon in UU, and that is Celesteela. Celesteela is so damn good. It's so good. Celesteela is just like one of your everything mons, right? This is a setup sweeper, this is an assault vest user, this is a defensive mon, and it's also like a really good defensive mon, even though it doesn't have like reliable recovery, with you basically just relying on protect leftovers and leech seed. It's still so fat. It just takes hits constantly, and still fire feels like it should not be so great at coverage, but it, and then air slash if you wanted, or earthquake, covers so much, so much, and it just lets you take on just about whatever you need. You also got seed bomb if you need it. Like I said before, offensive sets can be really good. Obviously no Z moves do hold it back a little bit, but like, it's still such a good mon, and Meteor Beam Power Herb let the offensive sets, I think, continue on past where they were in the past. Now Chansey, I don't know. I don't know if Chansey's D tier. I'd say it's D tier actually, because I think like C tier is like where your Blissey goes. Is that where I put Blissey last time? I feel like I might have. I'm not sure. Let me see. Can I? Did I put Blissey last time? I don't know. I'd have to look. Doesn't matter. Chansey. The thing with Chansey is that it doesn't have the special attack to not get passively set up on, unlike Blissey. Like Blissey, if you're trying to like not like Garchomp set up on you, you can just run Ice Beam, and it's strong enough to where that matters, right? But Chansey, not as much. Like Blissey also runs Shadow Ball sometimes because of ghost types, etc. Like Blissey can afford that, but Chansey can't. No, like its offense is so bad. It's just so easy to set up on. It's so easy to take advantage of. While it sits there and thinks it's gonna beat you, you reverse sweep it. I can't see where Chansey should be a drafted mon. Like when it's stall, I feel like even stall players go after Blissey for that exact reason. Conk. So Conk, do I think you're A- or do I think you're B+? I don't know. I feel like A- is too good for you. I love Conk though. I love Conk. I don't know. This is hard. Because like I feel like A- is usually a lot better. I'll put you down here. You're a good mon. Although I really want to put you like right there. Because I've used Conk before. It's one of my championship mons. And it ended up being really, really good. It just doesn't have the reliability as a fatter mon, and its offense, it's really slow for an offense mon, so it ends up in a really interesting spot a lot, in my opinion. And I also feel like I'm constantly being held back and want to run like multiple items, so it kind of also is affected in that way. It's not a bad mon, but I just feel like, you know, there's a lot of better fighting types out there, in my opinion. Crawdon also, I would say, is around B+. Crawdon, I don't feel has the same stigma as Azumarill, where like it kind of feels weird that you have like, this is your water, this is your fairy. Like this, yeah, it's a water and a dark, and these are important types usually. but like you can get other water and other darks and not feel the same heat that you feel from a Azumarill. It's a weird thing. I don't ever treat a Zoom like Crawdon as like, oh, this is my this type, this is my this type. This is a mon that just clicks buttons and gets kills. It's not gonna resist anything anyway. Like it's just gonna fall over and die. So it's just a breaker, and I don't really like have it fall into those like specific roles in my opinion. So I think it does like I like Azumarill better for that, but I feel like they still like are around the same characteristic. I'm gonna put this actually down here. I think because I feel like these mods have more utility than Crawdon, which is just a button clicker. And don't get me wrong, I love Crawdon. I think Crawdon is so stupid strong, but like when all you can really do is just click a button and get a kill, and you're not even that good at it because you're constantly being outsped and prepped for, and you can be out prioritized by stuff like Mach Punch. I feel like you're just like there's other better Pokemon. Diggersby, if you're Vepsis, it's just like up here because you just run EQ, return, rest, sleep talk all the time. But another just like B+ mon, good at dishing out hits, and that's generally it. It does have a little bit more versatility. Like normal ground is an interesting typing, honestly. Electric, ghost, God, what is it? Ground is that rock, poison, I think. That should be it. That should be it. But even still, like, it's interesting. Like, I mentioned Vepsis' Rest Talk set, but that actually does put in some work sometimes, I'll be honest. Like, I mean, hey, good Gengar Wolf, Troppleberry. But also, again, really strong Mon. Just good at clicking buttons, just like a lot of these other ones. That's what UU is really good for, is having a lot of strong offense. Always happens, always happens. Just Mons that don't live up to the power creep, and they fall to UU, and UU just has these ridiculously strong breakers. But it does have some utility to it, unlike Crawdon, where it can run Choice Scarf sets and actually outspeed stuff. It gets priority as well. It gets spikes, so it can be like an offensive spiker, which is really nice. SD, U-turn, and yeah, like its speed is still like manageable. 77 isn't the greatest, but it's still better than like a lot of the fat mons. Durant. So Durant, I've barely ever seen this thing drafted. Like, it's a nice, strong Mon, in my opinion, but, like, you're relying on... Let's be honest, I don't hit moves, so, like, we need to create a new tier. You're relying on Hustle constantly for it to be a breaker, and I feel like you're just better off with so many other... I feel like there's so many other breakers. This is just another time where I'm just like, this isn't really, like, your Steel type, right? You're not like, oh, this is going to be how I resist every type in the game. Because it's not going to take any of this thing. So you're going to have to get another Mon anyway. If you're going to get a breaker, just get a different breaker. The speed is nice, but like I don't think it's worth it. It's a good Mon, and in some matchups it's ridiculously scary, and it can have a lot, but I feel like there's just too many drawbacks for it to be anything higher than C. Now, Excadrill. I feel like if you're S-, like I kind of want to like make S just for you. Like I don't feel like you should be S-. I feel like you're too good for S-. If you're S-, you are like the peak of S-. But Excadrill is obviously just one of those mons that you must always see drafted, right? It gives you so much, and it doesn't feel like you're forced to run this as your Steel type, like your bulky Steel type, or your Ground type. Even though it's just like super strong and it's actually pretty bulky and can run like Spadef sets to handle things. Good Mon, super good offensive Mon, even without Sand. Of course, with Sand, it's so much better because you have access to so many sweeping potentials. It's a great Wing Con, it's a great Rabbit Spinner, Stealth Rock Setter, offensive lead, Sword Dance breaker, and as I mentioned, my top 10 craziest Josh sets. If you know, you know. Great Mon, always should be drafted in every league. Just phenomenal. Now, Galerium Moltres. Where do I want to put Galerium Moltres? Because I've had a fun time with Galerium Moltres. I'd love to put it here. I'll be honest. I'd love to put this here. I'm actually going to move Amoonguss down, I think. I'm going to leave it right there. Maybe I'll have to, like, as time goes on, I'll have to, like, do, like, it just S. and then like A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus. I'd love to put this here because I love Galerium Moltres, but like I think it's a B tier, a B plus tier. A really solid mon, really good dark type, really fat dark type. Heavy duty boots means it's not taking 25% from rocks. It does have to rely on rest, which kind of sucks. If this thing ever gets roost, I think it'll be so much better. Like so much better. And this is obviously a great defensive typing, which you'll see later. And it can be offensive. Like Nasty Plot, agility is really good. I've had a lot of fun in the past with this. I think this is definitely a mon that everyone should really just try out once, just because you can get away with a lot. Like, you can get away with a whole lot. If you can somehow find a way in your head to create a win con with Moltres where it only needs one move, Fiery Wrath or Hurricane / Air Slash, like, Rest, Sleep Talk, Agility, that move, gone. I promise you can Stampede, because this thing takes so many hits and can just Rest, Sleep Talk off any damage status, and Berserk will just let you keep getting special attack boosts. Really good mon. I really like this. Now, this is an interesting one. I've never actually used Slowbro Galar, but compared to Galarian Slowking, this is a huge letdown in my opinion. Does not have the same bulk. Does not have the same defensive capabilities. In my opinion. And I think it's just a picture of what could have been, right? Like, Slowking, I put like way up here last time because it's so good at just like walling everything and being a great pivot and everything. But I'm not seeing the hype of Galarian Slowbro, and this is why you never really see it drafted. It does not have the same capabilities, strengths, what have you, that Galarian Slowking has. It does have like some niches as a better wall breaker or better hitter, but it's gotta stay there. Now Gyarados. I wish I could see more people use this mon. I wish I could see more people use Gyarados, because I think there's a lot that Gyarados can do. Scarf Moxie is just like such an underrated set. Defensive Intimidate is an underrated set with like Rest or Resto Chesto. Like, it gets Thunder Wave. You get a lot of different like coverage moves. Obviously Dragon Dance is super like the set to be, right? But there's a lot you can do with Gyarados, in my opinion, that people I don't think just really explore. So I think this is probably one of the most unexplored mons. If I was going to make a top 10 unexplored mons in Draft League, I think Gyarados would 100% make that list. And in fact, I think it might actually be number 1 or close to number 1. It's a really unexplored mon that I think we need to see more development on and real creativity on. I think I might actually just try and draft this upcoming soon, just because I really want to see what limits can we stretch this mon to. But yeah, like, it doesn't have like the capabilities of being mixed like stuff like Salamence or Dragonite, but I definitely think that there's a niche for it. Hattering. I've also not seen people use this as well. I know Moet used it pretty well, and I've used it before, but like, the team that I used it on didn't really need the Hattering support, I'll be honest. But it's an okay mon, right? It's super slow, it's super bulky. Callmind Draining Kiss is a really good set, in my opinion. Trick Room, Life Orb, offensive, really good. I've used G-Max Hattering, and G-Max Hattering, y'all. G-Max Hattering is something else. Like, imagine Gardevoir is the fastest thing on the field, except it can switch moves, and it has 130 base power on everything it touches. Bruh. And it has like 8 billion HP. G-Max was great. Regular Hattering is still really nice. Not a bad fairy. Not at all. It's also your Psychic, so like, I'd usually like to get a second Psychic with this. But like a really good mon overall. I wish it had more reliable recovery, but Wish isn't bad. I think it gets Wish. I know it gets Healing Wish. Trick Room, a lot of coverage. Just like what you'd expect, a strong, fat, slow fairy. But nothing too remarkable about it, in my opinion. Haxorus. I don't think people give Haxorus enough credit. I think Haxorus is really, really good. I think Haxorus is super good. Insanely strong. Just like, it's one of those mons that when you see it on the other roster, you have to respect it. Because it can literally just show up. It doesn't even need a boost sometimes. And it can just click Life Orb, Murder button. 147 base attack, I believe. $147. God, I'm so smart. 147 base attack. It's just insane. Outrage, Earthquake, Poison Jab, really all you need. And if you really want to get crazy, you can run Dragon Dance, you can run Swords Dance. The only real problem is that, like, there's plenty of Skarpers that can outpace it and stop it from Dragon Dance sweeping. But still a great mon, in my opinion. Of course, its bulk release something to be desired, but that's something you're going to have to give up when it's this ridiculously, outlandishly strong. Choice Band sets, also super, super fun. Love Choice Band sets. Hydreigon. Now, this is one of the mons that I've used the most. I think Hydreigon's great, right? I have used... I would like to believe that I have used just about every Hydreigon set that someone could potentially come up with. Scarf, Band, Specs as the main ones. Life Orb Roost, Life Orb Not Roost. All-Out Attacker, Modest Expert Bell, Dragon Dance. Defensive, both physically and specially. Taunt Defog, Stall Breaker, Subtoxic. I'm pretty sure I ran like Belch one time. Like DD Belch. Band, Physical Scarf. Like, whatever you think that you can run with Hydreigon, I have run it and used it to death. I love Hydreigon. It's super versatile, and Dark Dragon is a phenomenal typing that gets overlooked a lot. Psychic, Psychic Water, Fire, Grass, Ghost, all great things that you resist, and Ground is so, so good. And you have the bulk to take neutral hits pretty well. So, Electric too. All these great types that like people have trouble with sometimes, and Hydreigon just eats them all up, gets access to U-Turn, gets Defog, can Nasty Plot and Break, can Scarf and Sweep, can Dragon Dance and Clean, like whatever you need it to do, it can fill the role. It's just that 4 times weakness to Fairy and less than base 100 speed, I think, hold it back a little bit. But other than that, just a phenomenal, great mon. If you don't have a Dark or Dragon planned out in your draft and it's there, like round 3, like get it. Get it, get it, get it. Super, super good mon. Now, Jirachi is a mon that has fallen from its grace as one of the best Draft League Pokemon you could have, but I don't think it's fallen that far. Like, I think it just depends on how well you use it, right? Like, I've come up with a few Jirachi sets of my own that I think do really, really well, but I don't think it's S-. I think it's an A+ mon. It's a great mon. And it's, again, one of those super versatile mons that just does whatever you need. Still, Psychic is one of the best defensive typings in the game. Access to Wish, access to Healing Wish, Physical Scarf, Special Scarf, Expert Belt to, like, Break, Callmind Sweeper. It can be that's one of the best choice scarfers in the game. Like I said, Healing Wish, Stealth Rock support, Wish support, access to U-Turn, stuff like that. Really nice coverage. Really good mon overall. I think, in my opinion, I'll be honest, I think this is what people think of people who don't like stand Mew as hard as I do. The way I see Jirachi is how I think they see Mew. Like, jack of all trades, master of none. Just a really, really solid mon. Kelvio, I don't know. I don't think I've seen it utilized enough well for like A+. I think it's a great mon, great breaker with Specs or Callmind as a stall breaker or taunt. If you really want to, you can run Rest Talk with Water Fighting. It's actually a pretty decent typing. Flip Turn made this thing so much better. You know what? With Flip Turn, I guess we can just like move it up to A+. Because like Scarf Flip Turn is like a really, really nice set now. But if you want to be cheeky, you can run like SD, get access to Aqua Jet. Like, I love Mystic Water sets. Really, really good mon. Not a lot to say. It's fast, it's strong, and has great offensive typing. And decent coverage, stuff like Air Slash now. So, it doesn't really care about Hidden Power being on. Except for, like, Hidden Power Poison for, like, Tapu Bulu. But if you want like a poison move to hit Tapu Bulu, look no further than Crook Dial. Look at that. Nice A- mon. Great dark type. Great ground type. Actually, Stealth Rock. And some pretty decent versatility. Stuff like Bulk Up. Scale Shot is really nice. Is now valuable. I wish you got Rock Polish or Agility or something. That'd be really, really cool. Defensive, Taunt, Stall Breaker if you want. Scarf Moxie. Scarf Intimidate. Stuff like that. Life Orb's an interesting set. Overall, really, really nice mon. Obviously, better grounds and better darks exist, but this is by far not a bad mon. You could even make it like an argument for A+, but I think A- is fine. This is one of those mons that I just like. I want to make it my opinion, right? I don't want to try and be like objective. Right, I want to be subjective. I want to put this where I feel like. Because if I put this where I feel like, this mon would be like up here. Because I absolutely love Lycanroc. I think Lycanroc is so criminally underrated, and it is one of the most ungodly, impossible to switch into wall breakers that anyone can ever face. I have had this thing reverse entire matches for me. In Ubers, nonetheless. Like, such a good mon, but like, I can't put it up here. No, I can't put it up here. Are you kidding me? I'll be crucified. Especially since I put like Garchomp down here. What the hell? I think it's as good as the wall breaker is. Kelvio. It's not as versatile as some of the other mons, but in terms of just being a fast, strong, and again, like, if you really do the calc to this thing, and stop just like staring at Stone Edge and look at its other coverage moves like Close Combat and Psychic Fangs and Drill Run, stuff like that, you would not believe how many things that this thing can do a KO. And then a Stellar Rock is a great priority as well. Sucker Punch, like, super good mon. That frailty does not matter in my opinion. And if you want, you can also make this like a suicide offensively. But in all honesty, just run Life Orb and click a button and just murder stuff. Speaking of clicking a button and murder stuff, Mamoswine. It's not S-. It's not S-. I want it to be S- because this was actually my all-time kill leader for the longest time. This is just something that like you don't switch into. You don't find a counter to in Draft League. You find something that you're going to end up sacking off to it. This is just something that always gets a kill. A ridiculously beautiful mon, in my opinion. I love Mamoswine. I think it is if Lycanroc's like one of the best wall breakers in the game, the only thing that can beat it is Mamoswine, because like you don't switch into Mamo. No one switches into Mamo. Rotom Heat, well, it's gonna get Stone Edged eventually, or it's gonna get knocked off and whittled down. Rotom Wash, same thing, it can get knocked off, whittled down, freeze dry. Bronzong can get knocked off, like Skarm. If you're banded, adamant, and get rocks up, I'm pretty sure that's a 2 KO. Like, this is something that can find a way around all of its counters. It's really good, and it doesn't even need this wide move pool. Like, what did I mention? Crash, Shard, EQ, Stone Edge, Knockoff, Freeze Dry. Done. Done. I have countered the world. Really, really cool. And also gets like a niche thing that it gets is like Heavy Slam, so it can beat fairies really, really easily, which is cool. Stealth Rock, nice. Oblivious, obviously the best the best ability in the game, according to one specific OG albino. But it's actually really good on Mamo because it's in now resist Intimidate, which is super, super good. I apologize, I'm very tired if you can't tell. Thick Fat is also a great ability. Just a lot of good stuff here on Mamo. A lot of good stuff. Mana Buzz. I'll put you in S-, just because you're a bit passive. But I mean, Mana Buzz is like, if you want the best dark type in the game, if you want like the dark type, you get Mana Buzz, right? I mean, just it's so good. It's so fat. It's so bulky. Heavy duty boots made this thing so nice. And it's not even that slow. Like, it's actually a pretty decent speed. And you could also run some cheeky stuff, but like it's there to wall stuff. Woo. And then wall stuff, and then wall more stuff, and then wall stuff is not supposed to. You can just go on and on. This thing will take hits all day long. Great defogger. Foul play is great for stopping setup. U-turn in case you're in a predicament where you're gonna be set up fodder, you can just U-turn out and go into what you need. Great mon. Love this thing. Moltres. Moltres, I think Moltres is really good. Really, really good. Super versatile mon. Heavy duty boots just like was the saving grace for this thing, because fire flying is a really nice type, honestly. Like, it guarantees a lot of stuff. Immunity to ground, fire resist. It gets it's a fighting resist. It is a not an ice resist because it's neutral. Although, like, I've used it as like my Mamo answer, so steel resist, fairy resist, good typing to have a resist to. Grass resist, bug resist. I think that's everything. A lot of decent resist. Immunity to ground is great. Good defogger, good U-turner. A really good breaker too. Like, if you want to like find a better hazard remover and go with like specs, that's definitely an option. Super good for that. It just has like a lot of versatility to it. I think it's a really good mon. Sometimes I think it's underrated too. Nidoking. I've seen a lot more reasonable hype for Nidoking. Like, people are starting to realize more and more that, like, while Nidoking, everyone was just like always on Nidoqueen's nuts because of the fact that it was bulkier. Nidoking's not bad either. Like, in that bulk, whoo, that bulk is not bad. Like, it can take what it needs to. Like, Nidoking can actually, like, 100% just stop Tapu Koko. And it gets everything that Nidoqueen does. Like, Stealth Rock, Toxic Spikes, Taunt, like, coverage out the ass, physical and special, movesets, Scarf, whatever you want. Really, really good mon. Like, don't take its bulk as, like, a sign of weakness. It's a good mon. Nihilego. I'll put you in A- because I feel like you're still kind of predictable. And with no hidden power, even though you got like the access to Meteor Beam, and that's a really strong nuke, even against resist, I still feel like it's just easy to have you taken out with like a steel type, or walled with a steel type. In the past, I've massacred with Nihilego. That was with hidden power. However, and made it a lot easier to run like Life Orb, no speed, like speed boost sets, and just like pressure with hazards, and then eventually just clean up. It's a nice cleaner. Good choice Scarfer. Can be a good breaker with Meteor Beam. Overall, I think it's died down in hype from when it first came out, and now it just resides here, and it'll probably reside there for basically the rest of Pokemon history, just because it's too good to like move down because of how strong it is and how easy it is to snowball. Primarina. Now, we mentioned earlier, like, if you want a better, like, Azumarill, in my opinion, just get Primarina. I don't think it's as good as, like, all these mods up here, because you basically are just, like, stuck with, do you want to go pow, pow, bang, bang, and go Scarf for specs? And not even Scarf. Like, Scarf's, in my opinion, not the greatest set. I love, like, Scarf 60 sometimes, but, like, I think you lose a lot on power. Or do you want to go, like, Rest, Talk, and Wall, like a fighting type? But it doesn't really have, like, the bulk to like really take on physical threats, in my opinion, unless the physical threat is kind of weak and doesn't have like setup. So I kind of get like, I'm kind of wary over that, but still like a really good mon, super strong. It's just not top affinity in my opinion. It lacks some of the utility of top affinity with the defog and Callmind, stuff like that. Actually, it just does get Callmind. Sorry. The bulk of top affinity, I guess, is what I'm more leaning to. The speed too, like a bunch of really small drawbacks just keep this thing like a little bit held back compared to something like Tapu Fini. Rotom Heat, really really good mon, super good mon. Nasty Plot, Scarf, Boots made this thing really good. Obviously, Defog's a nice set, and with Boots being a thing, like this is now just about as good or if not better than Rotom Heat. Or Rotom Wash, which is actually the next mon. But I still think Rotom Wash is a little bit better. I just think Electric Water is just a better typing. But Electric Fire is nothing to sneeze at. These are both really good mons. And they're basically the same, so we can talk about them at the same time. But like I said, Nasty Plot's really good. Overheat is kind of annoying because like your only Fire Stab is going to drop your is going to drop your special attacks, so that kind of sucks. It doesn't have U-turn, so that also is but it does have access to all three statuses, or all three main statuses, which is really nice. Same with Wash, so I think that's something that's overlooked a lot and like not really looked at as, wow, this is really, really nice. Being able to burn, Toxic, or Thunder Wave, whatever you want, is, I think, criminally underrated in Draft League. But both good mons. Both good mons. If they're there, like, get them. Great resist. I feel like bird resists are sometimes overlooked, so I definitely think that's a good pickup right there. Ments, I'm not a huge Ments hyper, but, like, I know it's a good mon. But I'd be remiss if I did not put it in A+ for my good pal OG Albina, for his mascot. It's still a great mon, though. Like, I think this is one of the better Dragon Dance sweepers in the game. And it has so many things it can do, right? You can run Life Orb Special, or Life Orb Mix, or Specs even. Defensive are really good. Is a really good set, like Scarf Moxie, Dragon Dance, just all-out attacker. Like, there's a lot of stuff that Ments can do, and Dragon Flying is a nice typing that I think allows it to do it. It's not really something that you need to, this is not, how do I say it? This is not like a typing. Like, everyone like tries to have a dragon on their team most of the time, but this is not like a typing that you're going to be desperate for, right? It's just a really solid overall mon, in my opinion. Scolipede. Scolipede. Fallen from grace, in my opinion. There's more and more mons like Celesteela, Corviknight, Skarmory that are becoming more and more popular and like more and more common, that you can't do what you always have been doing. I think heavy duty boots help you out a lot, but I still think you're like a really good mon. Like, I still think you're a really scary sweeper. I've used you recently, and I think that people don't prep for you enough as they should. But I feel like with the abundance of steel types that we're getting more and more, and poison types to an extent, that you are definitely a little bit falling from grace. But you're still a great hazard setter. Baton Pass. Remember when Baton Pass was legal? And that was like the big discourse of Draft League. Should it be banned? Yes, it should be banned 100%. If you don't ban Baton Pass or like stat passing, like, you're an idiot. But it resists. It's not weak to any priority except for a Celerock. It resists Mach Punch, which is really nice. A lot of good things about Scolipede, but I mean, it's kind of frail, and it doesn't always break through what you need it to, so it kind of gets held back in its sweeps, etc. It doesn't really have a way to stop or punish Defoggers, which I think is a big thing for its hazard setting sets. Skarmory. I think Skarmory's fine. I know it's back in its day, it was like the S-. It's like the best steel type. But then we got Celesteela, and then we got Corviknight. I still think it's good. A great hazard setter, great defogger, can run a lot of like different utility sets, and I think that's really nice. Honestly, I was thinking about putting it lower, but then I was like, it gets body press now, and I think that's just like a thing that gets overlooked, is like Iron Defense body press sets, which can basically just like snowball entire teams if they're not prepared for it. So I like that. I think it's a really good mon. And also, like, an underrated set like Swords Dance can be really cool, but like I feel like just body press is just like now so much better. Slowking. Slowking is so good. Like, I love me some Slowking. This is just like one of those mons that you just add on because you want to wall every special mon in the game. Max Bedef Assault Vest is really good. I don't think it's as good as Galerium, because Galerium has a much better typing and allows it to like kill fairies. But it's a great just special sponge, and even like a mixed sponge if you really want to, a teleport. Good stuff about it. Can't say enough good about Slowking. Can even run like Trick Room, Nasty Plot, Callmind kind of stuff, whatever you want. Just a really nice addition to any team, in my opinion. I don't really think there's a team, unless you're like Mono Water, where this isn't just like a fine pickup. Pert. Yo, what if Pert got like, do I want you to be B+? I mean, I can put you in B+. You do get help. You're not amazing, but I think Swampert can be a really solid glue mon. I think, actually, now that I think about it, I kind of want to move Primarina down too. I feel like I'm putting too much in A-. That shouldn't really be an A-. Like, Primarina can move down. But like, this is like the top. This is still like better than Azumarill. I think Swampert can be like a really good glue mon. that can hold like a lot of teams together. I've actually had like I've had a team where I felt like Swampert was just like the most important mon on the draft, just because like whatever role I needed to fill, it actually filled at least decently, right? I've run Scarf, I've run Band, I ran like Assault Vest, and it gets like a decent amount of coverage, more than you think. Like Sludge Wave was a really fun set to bring one time. I brought like Modest Assault Vest, Sludge Wave, and like messed a Sylveon up. Really, really good stuff. Good Rocker, good Roarmon to phase. Like I said, Flip Turn is really, really good as momentum. Good ground type, etc. Good addition to most teams. Tangrowth, I do think you've fallen a little bit from no hidden powers. So I think I'm going to put you A+. I think it's just like one of the best grass types that you could get. You know, it used to be like your definitive mess up Zygarde mon, but now like it doesn't beat Zygarde well anymore, because like at first they're like, oh, it can't be Zygarde because it beats Subset, or like Subset beats it, and then people were like, yo, just run Grass Knot, it breaks the sub and it's super strong, and they're like, oh yeah, now Zygarde's my bitch again, and then Zygarde's like, well, I can just run Sub Skitter Smack and stop that. So like it's just a back and forth thing with Tangrowth and Zygarde in my opinion. But it's also just like loses to Subtoxic, so whatever. But a great, just like mixed sponge. Can be physical sponge, can be special sponge, whatever you really need it. Sleep Powder is always good, of course. Woo! Regen, one of the best abilities in the game. I think it's a great mon. Best grass type, in my opinion. Or at least one of the best grass. Is there a better grass type? Let me think. Let me see. Let's see. Grass type. Let's just change this to OU. Is there a better grass type, in my opinion? I mean, Ferrothorn, I guess. Rillaboom is like an offensive. Tapu Bulu. I mean, it depends. Depends on what you need. All good things. Speaking of Tapu Bulu. Whoop, 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 whoop. I don't know. I'd rather have Tangrowth, in my opinion. Because you know, if we had, like, good old fake Tapu Bulu. Anyone remember fake Tapu Bulu? I think I mentioned this with Kogo before. But, like, fake Kogogo was, like, the single dumbest Pokemon ever. But, like, fake Tapu Bulu with, like, Play Rough was, like, amazing. Amazing. Really, really good stuff. Or Grassy Glide. Grassy Glide. This thing gets Grassy Glide. Like, let me just tell you, this is going, yoop, right up there. But it doesn't. But it's still, like, a great Grass Fairy type. Grass Fairy, I think, is, like, an underrated typing. It has a lot of good resist, but I mean, it's just so easy to run Poison Jab and stop it, or Sludge Wave and stop it. So I think it gets held back by that. But it has like a lot of decent sets. Subseed is really, really annoying. Bulk Up or Callmind gets set up. Choice Band obviously is ridiculously strong and basically impossible to switch into. But like when it comes to I need a ground resist, I would just much rather have Tangrowth. Because like even the whole grassy terrain nerfing Earthquake thing doesn't really matter when you can just run Drill Run or high horsepower, stuff like that, and basically get the same results. So I don't think that grassy terrain nerf really helps anymore. Tentacruel, I think your low Fizz Def holds you back a lot. A lot. I have dropped Tentacruel in the past because it just like wasn't what I needed. I needed a fat water, and it's like, it's a great special fat water, but that's it. That's all I got from it. But its Fizz Def is so bad. Its special attack isn't really the greatest either. I mean, Assault Vest sets can be cool, and it gets some like good coverage, like Giga Drain and Dazzling Gleam and stuff like that. And 100 base speed is nice. Rapid Spin's nice. Toxic Spike's nice. A lot of good, like, nice things. But overall, I just don't think all these positives outweigh, like, the things that are hurting it. Like, the Fizz Def and the low special attack. And, like, its abilities are okay. Like, Liquid Ooze is cool for anti-Leech Seed, and Clear Body's nice for, like, not taking, like, Sticky Web drop. But, I mean, other than that, it's not really the greatest abilities of all time. Thundee T. Thundee T is insanely scary, right? This is a great electric type because it gets access to U-turn, so it can constantly, like, U-turn out. It's an electric immunity, which is good because that means it always pressures other electric types. Great coverage, really, really strong. Nasty plot to make it even stronger. Heavy duty boost made this thing really good. Nice defogger, and it's over our base 100 speed, which I think is really, really cool with a lot of monsters at 100 and lower. So being at 101, I think helps that out a lot. And it's a good burp resist, which people, like I said, have overlooked sometimes. Now, Venusaur as a standalone Mon. I mean, with Sun, it's matchup dependent still. And I don't know. I don't think it's good enough as a defensive grass type to really be able to say it's higher than this. Like, in Sun, yeah, it's really nice, but that's it. It's only when it's in Sun. Outside Sun, it's fine, but it's not great. So, I feel like unless you're going Sun, just grab a different grass type. Grab Rose, grab Vileplume even. It's better, like, it's better, value, in my opinion. Like, the reason you grab Venusaur is just for Sun, and that's it. Zarude, a really, really good Mon. I didn't realize how good Zarude was until I had to, like, use it for a mock and just, like, use, like, just on the calcs. Like, Grass Dark, in my opinion, gives off the stigma because of, like, Cacturn and things, where it's super frail just because of its, like, a typing. But it has some decent resist, not gonna lie. It's a good water resist, and it can jungle heal, like, off Scald Burns, Psychic, Ghost, what is Grass resist? Ground. Like, these are some, like, important typings that you want to have. And Zarude's actually, like, really bulky. Like, its typing isn't the greatest, but it's really bulky. It's bulkier than Mew, and it's super strong. 125 is really nice, especially coming from Darkest Lariat, so it ignores all opposing stat boost, so it's really good for taking on, like, stored power sets. Power-up's really good. U-turn's really nice. Coming on Scarf Band. It has a lot of going for it, and I think it's just, like, overlooked sometimes. And lastly, we have a Zygarde at 10%. Now, this is fine, but you gotta be ready for the fact that you need to have extra ground type for this thing. This is like Crawdon, in my opinion, but like worse, because like unlike Crawdon, you know, it can click a couple different things. It can Dragon Dance sometimes. In my opinion, the only real reason you grab Zygarde or bring Zygarde 10% is to run Choice Band 1,000 Arrows. That's the only move I ever really saw myself clicking with this Mon. Or like Choice Band Extreme Speed. I would always get a different breaker, in my opinion. Always get a different breaker. Unless you want to just try the Mon out, I would say just go get a different breaker. It's fine. It's a nice B tier. But I just don't see it. All you're really getting it for is just to click 1,000 Arrows very strongly. But that's it. That's all the UU and RUBL Mons. Not a lot. A lot of just like hard-hitting offense, but like I said, that's what UU is all the time. It's hard-hitting offense and a couple mons to stop it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with my list? Do you not agree with my list? What is the most cursed opinion that you see on this list? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what tier you want me to see next with the Nat Dex, or maybe like a gimmick set, or do you want me to do like old gens, etc. Because like I know a lot of old gens like change things around. Like Gen 7 definitely changed things around a lot. And made like a lot of different mons like ridiculously viable, and some like But yeah, until then, thank you guys for joining. Make sure you leave a like on the video. Make sure you're subbed to here. Make sure you're following me on both Twitch and Twitter. And I'll see you next week, or hopefully see you Friday for a Wi-Fi battle. But I'll see you next week for another tier maker video. Till then, peace out, everyone.